This is the cheapest way right here for you guys to make your own seed starting mix and save potentially hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm often asked, what is the best thing to start my seeds in? And is it really that important? Man, it actually is critically important. Welcome to 3 Mississippi Guys. I'm Mike, and today we're going to talk about dirt. So let's first talk about what do seeds need in order to germinate and make it to, like, the first stage of true leaves, and then to the point where you're either going to up pot them or move them out into the garden. Well, what they need is a relatively inert potting medium that is going to hold the right amount of moisture, but not too much. It's not going to get soggy and, have them wet feet, and it's going to disperse heat evenly and cool off evenly. What they don't need, guys, is fertilizer. In fact, fertilizer can actually hurt them. So let's talk about what might that medium be. There are a lot of pre-packaged options out there, guys, and we're gonna look at closely a couple of these. A premium pre-packaged option, what I would call a big box store pre-packaged option, and then the way I do it, which is make it yourself. We're going to look at what the difference between these is and then what the cost is. So this Fox Farm seed starting blend that I have here is made of 45 to 55% sphagnum peat moss. Okay, now pretty much all of your seed starting mixes are going to be, the base is going to be either peat or coca coir. All right, now peat moss is something that is actually mined from peat bogs, and it takes a long time to make more, where coconut coir is a byproduct of a different farming industry. They're farming the coconuts, and then they're creating the coconut coir from the leftovers from farming. So from a sustainable point of view, I tend to lean towards the coconut coir, but I am not telling you what to do. There's a lot of peat bogs out there. That's just my 2 cents. Interestingly, from this premium Fox Farm brand, which is actually made in Humboldt County, California, y'all know they know how to grow stuff down there. They also kind of break out that this has perlite and fertilizer, and it tells you what that fertilizer is then derived from, okay? So right here, earthworm castings, and it goes in to discuss different mycorrhiza content, okay? And then it breaks down all these, and I don't have the skills nor the equipment to break down and look and verify that this is true, but it sounds good. It sounds good to me. Anytime I see somebody talking about mycorrhiza in a product, I'm excited about it. With this, what I'm going to call the premium brand, right? The Fox Farm, we're talking about peat base, which is a great base. It holds moisture actually a little bit better than coconut coir. And then we're talking about perlite. Perlite is a volcanic material that actually helps aerate. It kind of helps separate, and it kind of repels the water, okay? And then we're talking about some worm castings. We're talking about mycorrhiza coming from that. The worm castings are going to provide a little bit of nutrient once those leaves reach the true leaf state. And then those mycorrhiza, if you know anything about mycorrhiza fungi, they're going to actually help promote that root growth. So, when I look at the packaging on this premium, what I'm going to call a premium seed starter, looks good. I would probably use this, right? And this is, how many quarts is this? This is 25.7. We'll call it 25 quarts for rounding out numbers for $29.99. So basically 25 and almost 26 quarts for $30. That's your premium blend. So let's talk about the stuff that I make myself and how does it compare to the premium blend? Well, I start with coconut coir, okay? I'm gonna show you how I do this in a minute. Along with the coconut coir, I'm going to add perlite, which is what they were talking about. I'm going to show this to you. And then I also add vermiculite, another volcanic material. Yes, you guessed it, worm castings. So already this is starting to sound very similar to the premium blend. Now, why am I adding both perlite and vermiculite? Well, remember when I said earlier that peat tends to hold moisture slightly better than the coca coir? Well, remember I said that this perlite kind of repels water, right? This helps aerate the soil, and it actually helps with kind of keeping the soil temperature at a medium. Interestingly, what this vermiculite does is it actually absorbs and holds moisture a little bit. So when I add some of this vermiculite to my soil, I'm actually kind of bringing that soil moisture capability up closer to maybe what it would have been had I gone with the peat as opposed to the coca coir. And remember, either of those two options really is inert. It shouldn't have any seeds in it. It shouldn't have anything in it that's problematic. Both should be great options. So there's what I have. Then of course I'm adding my worm castings. We'll give you a little idea what those look like. Now, before ever reading the back of this premium Fox Farm seed starting mix that I just bought yesterday for the purpose of this video, I've been using worm castings in my seed starter mix, and even though I didn't know that they were claiming, the mycorrhiza and all that, I already knew that it brought beneficial nutrients and microbes to the scene. See, I've been told that these microbes might actually colonize the seed surfaces and interfere with pathogens. I've also been told that they contain growth hormones that actually promote robust root development. Now, if you guys stick around, I'm going to actually break down the cost per unit, per quart of all of these options, and I'm also going to plant some seeds toward the end of this video in all of the above. What I'm going to do right now is show you how I make mine. So I start with about 1/4 of a block of the coca coir, okay? And I actually cut it with a Sawzall the first couple of times, but here's the last 1/4 from the last one that I was working on, and I'm going to take this coca coir and I'm going to just kind of break it up a little bit in a tub, okay? It's not that difficult. Just in some chunks about like that. It's going to need to be able to absorb a little bit of water. After you've broken this coconut coir up into your tub, you're going to hydrate it. Now, this is a pro tip and an important one. If you're on city water, you need to fill this bucket. Any water that you're going to use with your seedlings, you need to put it in 24 hours before you're going to use it, leave the top off, and let it gas off, okay? These plants do not like chloramines. If you do have some mycorrhizal or some of the good little bacteria going on within this, those chloramines are going to kill them. So gas your water off. All right. Now you're going to take your water, put some in here, eyeball it, and watch it. Look at that, soaking it right up. This doesn't take long at all, guys. I'm gonna just push it around a little bit like this. Let it fluff up. Yeah, it's like chocolate cake. Just mix it a little bit. This only takes like 2 minutes to mix it and let it hydrate. You might find some little balls like this that you just need to just grab them and break them up a little bit. And yeah, this is hydrating fast. Just break that little ball up. There you go. Just keep going. Boom. Maybe add a touch more water. I eyeballed that batch pretty good, but I've been out here making this stuff like crazy for the last week. All right, after I get all this stuff hydrated, I'm going to add 2 red Solo cups of perlite. Okay, this is your medium perlite. When you go to order perlite or buy perlite, it's going to be, fine, coarse, medium, whatnot. This is like 3 to 6 millimeter medium perlite. So I'm adding 2 red Solo cups. I'm adding 2 red Solo cups of the vermiculite. Okay. Looks like gold, except for it's super, super light. And then I'm adding 1.5 red Solo cups of my worm castings. Okay. And we're going to mixy. Now, how did I come up with those ratios? I think when I first started doing this, I was trying to come up with 15% by volume, if I remember, of perlite and vermiculite, and 10% by volume of worm castings. I don't remember. I just know that I came up with 2 and 2 and 1.5, and that's what I've been doing. So get a nice mix. And that's it, guys. My batch of seed starting mix that I make from scratch is done. And watch this right here. A good hard squeeze, and you get a little bit of moisture there, but it's not oversaturated. You don't want it to be runny, and you don't want it to be dry. If you got any grip strength at all, you should be able to squeeze it hard and get a little bit of moisture out of it, and that's it. So let's just talk for a minute about how the 3 of these look and just kind of my overall take based on their consistency and their appearance right now. All right. Mine, I'm very used to. I know what it is. It's hard for me to have an opinion about mine because I clearly like it. It's obviously, you know, a predominantly coca core base. I can see the perlite, vermiculite. And if you look close, you can see some of the worm castings mixed in there. You know, this looks just like what I'm used to making. It's my recipe, so it should. Okay. Now, if we look at the premium, what I'm calling the premium, this is the Fox Farm. There's a lot more vermiculite in there. And I'll tell you, that makes sense. And in fact, they went with both the medium and the fine vermiculite. And the reason I say that makes sense is because their base is peat. Remember? And I said peat tends to hold a little bit more moisture than coca core. So that would make sense as to why they added more vermiculite. So not mad at this at all so far. I still say I would use this. Now we come over here to what I call the big box store. This is the Jiffy brand. Again, it says on the package that it's 45 to 55% peat. I feel visually like there may be something else besides peat in here also. It doesn't say on the packaging. There's really a minimal amount of perlite and really no vermiculite. So, you know, I'm not liking this one as much. I'm going to be honest with you. I would say that in a pinch, it's a seed start mix. I'm sure it'll start some seeds. I don't think that it is as high a quality just visually and from touching it here as either of these two. That's my opinion. So let's break it down. I actually kept track of everything that I purchased, what I paid for it, and I'm breaking it down into unit, and I'm calling 1 quart of finished product a unit. We're going to start with the Jiffy. This is what I'm calling the big box store. Okay, the Jiffy comes in a 12 quart bag for $16. That is $1.33 a quart. My opinion of these 3 would be that this is the last in quality. Still a seed starting mix in my opinion, but of the 3, the least quality. This is $1.33 a quart. This is the Fox Farms, and that came in a 25.7 quart bag. I wrote down 25, okay? So it's actually slightly better pricing than what I'm about to tell you, and that's what I did the math on. So 25.7 quart bag was $29.99, 30 bucks, all right? That comes out to about $1.20 a quart. So this is actually cheaper than the Jiffy, and frankly, way better. My opinion, based on just looking at it and touching it so far, of the three, this is probably the highest quality. I'm gonna say it's slightly higher quality than what I've been making. Okay, and I'm fine with that. And this is $1.20 a quart. Let's talk about the 3 Mississippi brand. And by the way, this is not my recipe. I Googled this. A lot of people are using a very similar recipe. I just tweaked it a little bit, and I have no problem sharing it. I bought the Cocoa Bliss, which was the 10-pound block. I break the 10-pound block into quarters. Each quarter makes about 24 quarts, okay? That's important to know. So this is 96 quarts right here, all right? A finished product. That was $26. The Perlite, 12 quarts of Perlite. I'm putting a quart per. That is $19.99, 20 bucks. The Vermiculite, 24 quarts for 35 bucks. And then the Worm Bliss, I paid $12.99 or $13 for 8 quarts of the Worm Bliss. Now, see all my crazy chicken scratch on here. When I add all this up and I figure 1 quart of each of these, got about $5 worth of additives per 24 quarts. And then of the Cocoa Bliss, I'm spending about 27 cents a quart, so another $4.59. I'm looking at $9.33 for a 24 quart bag, if I was going to bag this, which comes out to 39 cents per unit per quart. 39 cents for what I'm making, okay, versus what I would say is the premium here, $1.20, versus what I would say is the least quality that I would consider using, and then only if it was all that was available, which is actually the most expensive at $1.33 a quart. So that's the pricing out of the way. Let's plant some stuff in these and see what happens. All right, I've got a 72 seed tray here. I'm gonna start with the Jiffy. Down here on this end, I'm gonna load up 3 rows with the Jiffy. I see a cat coming in my studio. What's up, Mr. Bunk? How'd you get in here? Mama left the door open. Then we got 3 Mississippi, Fox Farm. So why did I leave 3 open? Well, little bonus. People have asked me, can't I just plant in dirt or compost? Can I start my seeds that way? So I'll tell you what, since I'm doing this test, here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I want you to take a look at this. This is literally out of my compost pile. This is the most finished compost pile I have. It's pretty much dirt. Got a lot of organic material in there. This is the primo stuff that I'm using to top dress some of the rows in my garden, and I'm gonna go ahead and enter it into the competition. The next step is gonna be to take and get these a little bit compacted, and then we're gonna plant some seeds. I'm actually going to plant a broccoli that I purchased this year from Territorial Seed. This is a Gypsy F1 packaged for 2025. And the reason I'm choosing this is because I got a good bit left over in this seed packet after I already planted them. And I've already confirmed that these germinated really well this year. So I don't want the seeds to be a question mark. I'm gonna put 1 seed, guys. Normally I do not put 1 seed in a cell. I'm going to put 1 seed in every cell. After I get all the cells seeded, I'm gonna put a little bit of moisture right on top of those seeds in every cell. And then the next step is to cover those bad boys up. So again, these first 3 rows, we went with the Jiffy. Then we're going with my mix, Fox Farms, what I'm calling the premium mix. I do think that my mix actually loads into the cells better the way I do it. This premium mix is a little clumpier, but it's not too bad. Some garden compost down here at the end. Wouldn't it be crazy? Wouldn't it be crazy if the garden compost won this competition? Oh, that'd be, I don't even know what I'd do. I don't recommend bringing garden compost or any kind of dirt from outside that can have who knows what kind of problems in it into your indoor seed growing operation. I just don't. But listen, guys, in the name of learning, I'm happy to risk it here. Tamp them down one more time. And then after we tamp them down one more time, we're gonna give them another little splash of H2O. All right, now they are ready to put onto your heat plate. Got a little heat blanket down here. I got a few of these going on. And we're gonna cover them with a humidity dome, which I'm gonna make sure is closed for now. Those should take a few days to germinate. So what I'm gonna be looking for, and I'm gonna film this, I'm gonna document this entire process. So you guys feel free to check back in, see how they did. I'm gonna look at the germination in a few days, see how well they did, and then I'm gonna continue to watch them through the true leaf phase and see how they're growing. They're all gonna have the consistent same amount of water. They're all gonna have the same amount of light. They're gonna be exposed to the same environmental conditions. Once they reach a point where I would normally take them and plant them out, I'm actually gonna take some of those cells out and I'm gonna bust the dirt up, rinse it. We're gonna look at the root structure. We're gonna look at the stems. We're gonna compare legginess. We're gonna see how many of these damp off in one versus another. So it's gonna be a really fun experiment. But for today's video, just really looking at the soil, I've gotta say that the Fox Farm, which is what I'm calling a premium, is probably really good. It's pricey. The Jiffy, I'm gonna be honest, is mediocre. From what I can see, and it's way too expensive. Like, don't do it, guys. Do not do it. And then the homemade stuff, look, I'm really happy with it. I've never compared it to the others in a side-by-side comparison, so I may find that I need to make some changes to it. But I'm really happy with it, and the price is ridiculous. This is the cheapest way right here for you guys to make your own seed starting mix and save potentially hundreds and hundreds of dollars depending on how many seeds you're starting in a season. And remember, money saved is money earned, guys. Every penny that you save by starting your own plants and not buying a $4 started plant, and then every penny that you save by making your own seed starting mix instead of buying the pre-made seed starting mix, every penny that you save everywhere is money earned. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe, click that little bell down below so that you get notifications when we put out cool videos and save you tons of money. And don't ever forget, safety's off.